This is the Mississippi Surge Hockey Happy Hour Coaches Show, hosted by Steve McCall with head coach Jeff Bes. Hockey Happy Hour is brought to you by Bob's Burger Factory at the corner of Pass and Courthouse Road in Gulfport.
Welcome to Bob's for our Mississippi Surge Hockey Happy Hour. We have, as always, Coach Jeff Bes, and our featured player guests tonight are Matt Kinnunen and Chris Chambers. So let's welcome them here. Yes. Before we start with tonight's show and talking about what's happened recently and what's coming up here for the Surge, believe it or not, this is our last show of the regular season. 2 weeks from now, by the time we finish, 2 weeks from now, the regular season is going to be over with. And 2 weeks from tonight, when we would normally be meeting here, we will not have our Hockey Happy Hour here. The Surge Booster Club has a year-end party to, wish the guys good luck going into the playoffs. That will take place 2 weeks from tonight, and that is open to the public. That takes place at the St. Martin's Community Center. So all of you who have been coming here, we encourage you to go to the St. Martin Community Center 2 weeks from tonight. That's the 26th for the Surge Booster Club team party and celebration. But hard to believe that the end of the season is here. The Surge coming off a big win in Louisiana, since you always say we'll only go back one game, but it was a win, so things... We can go back 2 games since we won both of them.
No, we'll go back to the previous game that we played the week before. Yeah, we played at home.
Fayetteville
at home. Tough team to play against. They're battling to try to stay in playoff contention. And they don't have too many systems. They just, so they cheat a lot, so to speak. And, the good part about that game was the goaltenders getting up the center ice and a little shenanigans going on there with Kiefer Smiley and Brown. So that was good, great for the fans, and fortunate enough to win. Going to Louisiana, we haven't fared too well when we play in Louisiana, but the guys played real good, executed the game plan very well, came out in the second period, and really took the game over. And that's where we won the game and set ourselves up for the third period.
Frank, your order is ready?
Frank's order is ready. And it worked out really good. 2 big points. And at this time of year, you want to give the guys some rest. And we were fortunate enough. Very rarely has it ever happened in my career where you'd have a Saturday, Sunday off during the regular season. But these guys had actually Saturday and Sunday off away from the ice. And it was a good decision. They came back to practice today. They were very excited and enthusiastic and a lot of fun for a big game tomorrow.
Tomorrow the Surge will be back home. They take on Augusta, a team you haven't seen much lately. We'll get into that a little bit later. The thing I was impressed with in those last 2 wins, defensively, I thought the team played very well. Only gave up a total of, I think, 36 shots in the 2 games. Fayetteville is struggling, but
you can't really count that. You can't
Chris,
count.
your order is ready?
here we go. Go ahead, Chris. He'll be back.
You can't really count the game against Fayetteville. They had a long bus trip. They really, didn't want to be here. Didn't want to
Tom, your
play.
order is ready?
There's a lot of things that went on that. But we did what we had to do against Louisiana. It was a big game, actually, in the standings. They're in 6th place. We're in 5th place. We wanted to put a little space between us, to have a little bit of a cushion to maintain 5th place and hopefully get to 4th place for home ice advantage throughout in the first round of playoffs.
When a team is struggling and down and the way you put it, doesn't want to be there, are you worried that they might get chippy and try to take liberties?
I'm not really worried about them getting chippy and taking liberties, especially with our team. We've really bonded as a team that's team tough, close together, tight-knit. What I worried about was, defensively they really didn't care. Offensively they take chances. They take chances on the defensive zone. They would, and as you saw, they had guys hanging out the far blue line most of the game. But our forecheck, we established our forecheck very early, and they couldn't get out of their zone. And
Jennifer, your order is ready.
when they didn't, is that you?
That's
All right. So when they didn't have, in essence, we were playing 5-on-4 in the zone because they had a guy out at the red line or the far blue line most of the night. So that's what scared me. I wouldn't say scared, but that's what, had me a little bit nervous, so to speak.
Just one lousy chip, a lucky chip maybe, a bad bounce, and then the guy's got a breakaway.
Well, it happens. We were aware of what was going on. We always had a D-man back, not allow that to happen. So, but it certainly makes you aware of your surroundings and what you're doing. And realistically, it was good for our D-men. It helped with their communication going into the final couple weeks of the season.
Given the history, was it a certainty that Smiley and Brown were going to fight again?
No, not at all. It's part of the game. It happened one time, and he wanted to do it the next game, but there was no certainty. He came here. They did not fight earlier in January. And then we got here and it happened, and I have no problem with that. I have no problem with him standing up for himself and going out there and doing that. I thought it was great. It was exciting for the fans, I think. I'm sure everybody else.
You guys like that?
It was boring.
Keeper's a competitor. He wants to get in there. He wants to play every game, as does Nick. But Keeper's, he's a competitor. He likes that nasty, in-your-face style of game.
I was going to say, obviously, the Surge have worked to their advantage, getting the 2 wins, and Surge is seemingly. You'll like the way the team's playing at this time of the season, heading into the playoffs. Still got 5 big games left to go.
Up until this point, I do. I think we got room to improve, of course. We've broken it down into the last 20 games. We broke down into 4 or 5 game segments, and we've done very well in them. Realistically, with the way the playoffs are set up, it's 2 out of 3 series. So you need 6 wins out of 9 games. So, to get a championship, and basically you can't lose 2 games in a row. And that's what we're trying to do. We had a little hiccup in our second segment, but we're focusing on it. We're narrowing our view plan, our site plan, and our views here on what we're doing, and trying to look at the team ahead of us. Obviously, it's Augusta for tomorrow. We have a certain game plan that we'll use for tomorrow. It might be a little different game plan on Friday against Columbus, but it's also time to work and tinker on a few things.
David, your order is ready.
We're using guys in different situations at times and trying to do different things on the power play. So when it comes time for the postseason, because the game's going to get nastier, it's going to get dirtier, and it's going to get grittier in the playoffs. And that's what we need to be prepared for, and we got to be ready for it. And that's something we're going to be focusing on here in the next 5 games.
You went through that stretch where you were playing the River Kings, and Pensacola, and Louisiana a lot, and now you're seeing Augusta and Columbus, a couple teams you haven't seen a whole lot lately. Does that impact how you prepare at all?
No. Each team, the good thing about this level and the good thing about the players and the teams is any given night, any team can win. It doesn't matter who you're playing, and you got to prepare yourself each and every night differently and focus on what you're going to do for that particular game. It doesn't matter if it's in Augusta or Pensacola or River Kings or a team you saw yesterday. They're going to change their game plan. If it's a team you played the night before, they're going to certainly change their game plan as much as we're going to change ours. You're not going to give them the same look 2 nights in a row. Chris Chambers isn't going to wear the same shirt 2 days in a row. Generally. So we got to change it up. We got to change it up and focus on that. And no, I don't look at it. I'm excited to play him. It's going to be a great test for us and a great measuring stick playing Augusta, the top #1 team in the league. So a great measuring stick to see where we're at right now.
Had some success against them. And to Jeff's point about playing back-to-back nights, you can just look a little bit east on I-10. Pensacola beat Fayetteville on Friday night and came out and then blew a 2-goal lead and blew a third-period lead on Saturday and lost to Fayetteville, which certainly doesn't hurt the Surge chances of trying to get that 4th playoff spot.
And we hate Pensacola.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
We don't like them.
So that was another reason.
We don't like them.
to cheer that one on. So all in all, it's been a good stretch. Matt Kinnunen, what did you say about Pensacola there?
We hate him.
We hate him. So we're going to visit a little bit with Matt. Go ahead and have your dinner, Chris, and then that way it won't get all cold. So we'll visit with Matt here a little bit.
Okay.
But Matt, let's talk a little bit about your background and when you started playing hockey, where you're from, and what brought you here, how your career's gotten you here.
Well, I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Western Canada. Played hockey all my life. Played junior in Saskatchewan. Went to Columbus, Georgia last year and played for the Cottonmouths. It didn't work out there at the beginning of the season, so I went to New York. Alexandria Bay, it's called. Played in the Federal Hockey League for 18 games, I think it was, before the organization gave me a call, Surge. So I came here in December and love it.
And that's good, and obviously you've had a good stint here. Just a very steady player. I mean, he's brought exactly what you were hoping when you brought him in, right?
Absolutely. He's,
Quinn, your order is ready?
You did.
no, he's come in and done everything and some. He brought leadership, he's brought toughness, he's brought character, gritty. Anything I ask of him, he does. And you know what? If I had 18 more players like him on the team, I'd be one half the camper. But I can't say enough about the guy. He works his butt off each and every day, and he's a warrior.
If you have a question for Matt or Jeff or Chris at any time, just raise your hand. Matt, how would you compare the style of play in that Federal League at Alexandria Bay to the SPHL?
East, your order
It's
is
actually
ready?
quite different. The Federal League, it doesn't have as much professionalism as it does in the SP. It's not as established, I guess. So I think it gets sort of knocked around a little bit like that. It's not ran as well. And there's good players in there, real good players, but I wouldn't say it's as good as the SP. Definitely not yet.
East, your order's ready?
It's just
Tim, your
more of
order's ready.
a skating game there, not really. They don't really have systems like the Southern Professional League.
Now, how did you get from junior hockey to Columbus? The junior that you came from? You didn't play college, right? It was
No, yeah,
junior ranks, right?
a guy on my team, Levi Lind, who plays for Columbus. I played with him in junior, and basically just followed his path a little bit, and he got me a tryout there, and just showed up, basically.
There's a lot more of that than people realize. It's not working. Yeah,
Showed up.
exactly. You showed up and earned your spot. Right? Yeah. How would you describe your style of play?
I take pride in being able to do. I like to think I can do every aspect of the game pretty well, and I take pride in that. That's basically it. Like I take pride in working hard, and I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah. And off the ice, you'll seem to like it here and love it here. I don't know what some of the hobbies are. I know some of the guys like to golf. This is obviously a good area for that.
Yeah, I love it here. It's beautiful year-round. Anytime you're near the beach is nice. Try to golf a little bit, but what are you laughing
at? We've got Matt here who's very quiet, soft-spoken, very, very reserved. And now we have Chris Chambers. Chris came back to the team from Bloomington, and Chris was one of the guys that was a returnee from last year, and you'd heard about him, and you knew he would bring a
Who
lot of
hasn't heard about him?
Yeah.
Really? Chris is obviously a fan favorite. A legend in his own mind. I'm just kidding. No, I spoke to Chris. He was the third player I called in the summertime, and he explained to me what his goals were, what he wanted to do, and I was 100% supportive and in agreement with that. And we went to an ECHL camp, and if things didn't work out, he'd come here and try to get to the next level. He came here, he worked really hard, and he got an opportunity to go to the Central League, to Bloomington. And he got up there, I think, about 37, 38 games. Learned a lot, played at a higher level, and and brought that experience back with them. And it couldn't have been
Nicole, your order is ready?
it could not have been at a more perfect time, to be honest, coming in at this late in the season. He's a good guy, a great guy in the dressing room. He's got everybody loose, keeps the guys up, likes to joke around and have fun, but he knows when it's time to work. And he's always vocal, always talking on the ice, and certainly brings a lot of enthusiasm. And he's a team guy, just like Kinnunen here, chainsaw. That's what I was giggling at. I was waiting to bring out chainsaw. But he just goes out and does his job each and every day. And these two, when I was actually thinking of bringing Matt in, I looked online and it was a fight between Chris Chambers and Matt Chainsaw Kinnunen here, and he got the better hand of Chris. And that sold it for me. And I called Chris up and he said, if you can get this guy, he's an honest, hard-working guy, get him. So I used a little bit of his knowledge to help us get him in. So, both these guys will do whatever it takes for the team to win. And, I'm very happy to have him on the team, to be honest with you.
I see the question over here, chainsaw. Where does that nickname come from?
The Booster Club last season in Columbus came up with it because of my last name gets being Kinnunen. Kinnunen like a chainsaw, I guess. So they started making signs and stuff.
You buzz all over the ice and slice through the opposition and all of those lines and everything. So, well, Chris, was that true that you had, recommended that Jeff?
Absolutely. I think playing against Kinner last year was a little bit of an eye-opener to me that there's a lot of really good players in our league. And, not necessarily the chemistry with me and Kinner, right off the bat, but I think that, he brings a lot to our team in terms of the grit, and he's always responsible in his defensive zone. He'll do anything for you on the ice, too. And I think that, when we fought last year, I could tell that he stands up for his team. And when Besser called me and asked me, what do I think about this guy, I said, absolutely, bring him aboard. He'll be a key puzzle piece to the championship team.
So you were familiar with him on the ice. Did you know about him off the ice? Had you guys ever been teammates, or?
No, we'd never been teammates, but first couple times that we were speaking to each other was about our fight last year, so I knew right away we'd get along.
Now, Jeff talks about your personality. You like to keep things loose. Matt's a little more quiet, reserved, and obviously when you've got 20 guys in a locker room, you're going to have 20 different personalities. You're not going to change. You don't want to tone things down. You're going to be Chris Chambers, right?
Absolutely. I think, it's important there for everybody to be themselves, especially in the dressing room. I think you find out some of the best people in the world in the dressing room. We got a lot of characters, a lot of different characters.
Now, there are some guys that are very...
I'm sorry, man, but that comment was nice. It was a great comment.
A lot of you folks will not remember this. You can go on YouTube and look it up, but some of you will remember TV show, The Old Carol Burnett Show. Anybody remember that? Remember how Tim Conway would always crack Harvey Korman up? That's what we've got going on right here. Is that, they can't continue. But there are guys in the locker room that some are very quiet, but they're the team practical jokesters and the pranksters, and you would never know that. Now, I got to believe whenever something happens, they're probably looking at you first thing, whether it's deserved or not, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get involved in a lot of extracurricular activities in the locker room. And, I've been back for just a brief time here, but, it'll start coming up here this week. I think I got something on my sleeve.
And obviously, I want to ask about that because we don't want to tip the hand and whatever. Coming the summer, obviously, you enjoyed the summer, celebrating the championship, and then heading into this year with the transitions. What were your thoughts coming back to the team?
Well, I think anytime that you win a championship, you want to do it. You want to repeat again. I mean, Jeff will tell you he's probably he's won countless championships, but when you win it, you want to win again. So there's no other feeling like it in the world. There really isn't. And my first thought was, let's do it again. Let's win again. And so I was happy to get a call, and when I got the McCall. I said, hey, I want to move up, and he was very supportive of me, and I couldn't be happier with the way things have gone this season, and I want to win another championship again. So, and I think we have the pieces of the puzzle to do it.
Yeah, and obviously the team seems to be hitting its stride at the right time, 6 out of the last 7. Talk about the phone call to Bloomington, how that came about, and your experience with the Bloomington Blaze in the Central Hockey League.
It was good. I received a call mid-November. They were looking for a guy, a third-line guy that's going to be gritty and do whatever the coach asked him to do. And I jumped on the opportunity. I walked into the office, asked Bes what he thought about it. It was a good opportunity. He said Gardner was a really good guy, and it went well. I went up there. I learned so much from the other players that were similar to me, and every single day I walked in, I took a little bit at a time, and try to bring that back here to Mississippi Toast.
Paul Gardner, the coach of Bloomington, had been the coach of the River Kings last year when they were in the Central Hockey League, and actually when they first made the announcement that they were joining the SPHL, he was still their coach, and then they decided to make their transition to Derek Landmesser. Longtime assistant coach with the Nashville Predators, so obviously he brings a lot of NHL knowledge to the locker room.
Yeah, I think that, speaking with him, you do learn a lot from him. He's a jokester, too. And you can tell by his mustache that he's got it going right away. But, I learned a lot from him as well, because he takes it light, too, at certain points, and then he's gets right down to business when business needs to be taken care of. And, I did everything that he asked me to do, and, it was a good experience. It was a great experience, and I was happy to go up there, happy to get the chance to be able to go up there.
You mentioned that Paul Gardner takes it light, but also gets serious, when he needs to. Has there ever been a coach who's had to tell you, hey, you've crossed the line here, it's time to get serious, or have you been able to always know where that line is?
I think when I was younger, and I didn't know, I didn't know when to stop and when not to stop. 16, 15 years old, and then, once I hit junior hockey, I think my coach in junior hockey kind of instilled, when you got to have discipline and when you can kind of mess around a little bit. But it was good for me to be able to learn that at a younger age.
You haven't had that full range in yet? Jeff is biting his lip here. So.
It's that's more left to the guys on the ice and the guys in the dressing room. If need be, I don't know. I think there's certain times for everything, and he does a good job at keeping things light, but he also knows when to reel it in. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll talk a little bit about your background. Matt talks about he's from Calgary. Where did you learn the game? Where did you grow up?
I'm from Washington, D.C., so I learned the game from actually a close friend of mine, Kyle Laughlin, who played in Huntsville last year. His father, me and him were on skates at a real young age, and then just watching him play, and he taught me a lot. And when I was 17, I moved to play junior hockey in Cincinnati, and then in the Central States Hockey League, then the North American Hockey League in Fargo for a bit, and then the Eastern Junior Hockey League. Went to college in Plymouth State, and at the end of my senior season there, went to the ECHL, played a couple games with the Johnstown Chiefs, RIP. And then, after that, came here, won a championship, and back, and then Bloomington, and now I'm here.
Kyle Laughlin. Now, is that Craig Laughlin's son?
Yes, Craig
okay.
Laughlin.
Craig Laughlin, longtime defenseman in the National Hockey League with the Capitals and the then Minnesota North Stars and Dallas Stars. Toronto also?
Yeah. Toronto, Montreal, Washington.
Okay.
And then Germany.
Is he the one that there was one player, and I think it's him, that they made a big deal that he had the same shin pads since he was like in junior hockey, and he played all through his NHL career. I wanted to say that was Craig Laughlin. Did you ever hear about that story?
No, I never heard about it.
I was just saying, I think that's him, and that was always a big deal, as he was a color commentator on some of the NHL broadcasts and everything. They would talk about that, but that was just his superstition, and they were taped up and repaired and constantly repaired. Growing up in Washington, D.C., obviously you had the Laughlin connection there, but how did you get so involved with hockey, where, they have, obviously everybody there is a big Redskins fan. It would seem like, and football is dominant, and the NHL's relatively new to that area.
Well, when I was about 5 years old, there was this girl in my preschool class, I swear to God.
Hold here. This one's gonna be good. All right. All the rest of you may want to get your cell phones ready for this one here.
This is a true story. And the guy, one of my friends had his girlfriend. She was 5 years old and he was 6. And I was like, why do you get the girl? You know? And he played hockey at Piney Orchard Ice Arena right down the road every weekend. So I asked my parents if I could play hockey. I got a pair of Kyle's skates, went out, and I was brutal. He was skating circles around me, and he ended up getting a girl, but that's how I started playing.
So at the age of, most guys think the girls have cooties. Even then you were looking for the girls.
Yeah. I was looking at girls right when I came out.
Matt, you look like you got a question to ask.
Can we stop this?
Yeah, I've had the chance to do these shows in a lot of different markets, and well, my brothers played hockey, my dad played hockey. You know what? Some even it was, well, my mom was a figure skater, so she got me on skates. I've heard that. I've never heard anybody say, well, when I was 5, I thought it was a way to pick up chicks. Yeah. But then again, we're dealing with Chris Chambers, and why does that not surprise me? Yeah.
He's an original.
Try to be.
How do you draw that line, where you can turn it off, where it's time to cut up and time to be serious? Where do you do? How can you tell when you draw it?
I guess it's just you just turn. I don't know. I don't really have an answer for that. I just know when I have to be serious and when not to. Usually, if you're losing a game by a goal or 2 goals, you don't really joke around or anything like that. Or if you're coming in to the rink and you just lost the game, you got to get serious. Every Monday is a work day. Every Tuesday, usually, unless we have a game on Tuesday, and which is still a work day. But anyways, yeah, work days are work days, and you bring your hard hat to the rink, and other days you can have fun and work hard. And like I said, you have to know when you draw that line.
Do you use that personality and cut up with other players on the ice?
Absolutely.
Other opponents. Funniest thing you've said to try to get under a guy's
I can't
skin?
say
I was going to say, maybe that's family oriented.
That's fair.
Let's see. I'd have to think about it. I have tons of them, but they're bad. Not appropriate for this
setting.
show.
Yeah.
This is PG and
That's
it's a little R-rated.
R-rated. Yeah. Have there been times where you found yourself trying to turn away because you hear him say something on the bench and say, "Hey, that's pretty funny," and you don't want to show the rest of the guys, and he got you cracking up? I mean, you're very serious and intense behind the bench. I think
Oh,
we've all
not
seen
really.
that.
There's been a couple times. I don't know. What?
Same thing. I didn't know.
No, I do know. Like sometimes he just says things that you just can't believe he's saying. Like it really has no relevance on anything in the entire world whatsoever. But he's just saying it to say something to try to get an advantage on the other guy, which I have no problem with. And I'm trying to get the advantage. But it just doesn't make sense.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Which is okay. It's the heat of the moment.
Yeah, it makes them think about it before that.
It doesn't matter. Someone could say something, but they'll always look at him. And if it's a good one, he'll take credit. If it's a bad one, no.
It wasn't me. What about your reputation around the league? Guys probably try to get under your skin too. Is there anything that's been said to you that you've then said, you know what, that's a good line. I'm going to have to use that next week against a different team or something?
I think, like I said, I learned a lot when I went up, and I heard some pretty funny ones that I try to bring back with me. But yeah, I mean, everybody tries to, get under everybody's skin, and I think that at the end of the day, whatever you say to somebody, they're going to think about. And I don't usually take things that anybody says on the ice too personal, because I know that it's part of the game and things like that. But yeah, I think a lot of guys try to get under my skin. They try to get me back for maybe what I said to them, or give me a shot after I gave them a shot. And you just got to play the game. You got to play the game. How you play it. You play your role, and everything falls into place.
Now, how about you, Matt? Do you talk much to the opponents on the ice?
Not really, no. Chambers, I talk to enough. I talk to more on my.
So talk to my guy back here, right? Kind of thing. And, do the guys though? I mean, they see that leadership increase.
Yeah, I talk quite a bit. And
Are there times when you wish you'd just have him say, "Shut up"?
No.
No, okay.
We support him. It's part of his game, and whatever gets him going, and whatever gets the boys going. And if it's upsetting the other team, we love it.
Obviously, and that can be a part of the game. If they're thinking about you, maybe they aren't thinking about making that next pass out or anything like that. The physical aspect of the game, I mean, that's something that, you know, you realize can be a part of your role too. Does it get harder in the playoffs where, you know, you don't want to take that fight? You can't afford to have a Chris Chambers off the ice for 5 minutes or possibly longer, you know, if there's a misconduct involved. You know, but you're not afraid of that aspect of the game.
No, I think, you know, when you get to playoffs, it's a different game, like Coach told you. I mean, everybody's going 100% all the time. You know, everybody's banging, everybody's hitting. There's always going to be something after a whistle. I think in playoffs, it gets a little bit different for me. I try to really, really go people in, you know, and try to get them to drop their gloves and then sort of skate away. I think everybody tries to get something like that going because you get your team 2 minutes and you want to do what's best for the team. So in playoffs, it's a very different game. You know, you might not drop the gloves when usually you'll square up with a guy or something like that because you want to draw them into a penalty. And you know, anytime you can draw a penalty in playoffs is a chance, a better chance to score a goal.
Yeah. In practice, do you ever square off with Billy Sears and work on that aspect of the game at all? Or?
I think Billy's role and my role are a little bit different. Billy's a very tough guy, and you know, I enjoy having him on my side. And, you know, he fights for the team all the time, and I'm happy that he's on my side.
And I say, yeah, take some of that pressure off of you in that regard. What about off the ice, other than the stand-up comedian routine that you're working on? What do you other hobbies or anything?
Hobbies? I'm learning French right now. Rosetta Stone. You guys think it's funny?
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Très bien. Oui. Very good.
You know, I like to hang out, play video games, watch movies, and
Do you golf?
I do golf. Occasionally, I'm terrible, but I golf. Yeah.
Get just enough good shots to keep you coming back.
I hit a lot of houses, but
Yeah. Did you play other sports besides hockey growing up?
yeah, I played, you know, pretty much every sport you think of. I was 14. I played soccer, baseball, lacrosse, a little football. I swam in the summers. Nice little speedo.
That excited.
Watch, he'll smile because he likes it. That's about it.
But it was hockey that got the chicks.
Yeah.
I
think so.
Everything. Well, what about now going forward? 5 games left in the regular season. 4 out of the 5 at home. A very favorable schedule. And I know, Jeff, it's 1 game at a time. We worry about Augusta for tomorrow. You like where this team is heading into the playoffs?
I think we're at a good place right now, but like Coach said, there's always room for improvement. Anytime, any point of the season, really. Obviously, we're hitting a good stride here. You know, winning a lot of games, but we need to continue it. And you know, when you go into playoffs with a lot of wins, you put yourself in a good position to win a championship. I like where this team's at. We got really good chemistry right now. Solid D-men, solid lines, and 2 great goaltenders that are playing very well. And I look forward to see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, and you know, with short series, 2 out of 3, I mean, that's one thing in these playoffs. Every game is going to be so intense. When you get into a 7-game series, you get into those middle games, games 3 and 4, may not have that do or die attitude, but it comes up like that. It's when you're in a 2 out of 3 situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to be coming to play when it's 2 out of 3, because if you don't, then you're going to be eliminated and playing golf the next week. So for me, hitting houses.
I was going to say, so there's a lot of homeowners who are hoping that
We
go a long
keep going.
ways. Exactly. You know, how does the team now compare with the team earlier in the year? Did you see a lot of differences in the Surge team from when you left to go to Bloomington in mid-November to where it is now?
Absolutely. I think that, you know, I talked to Coach a couple weeks ago and I said, hey, right when I got back, I said, you know, you've done a good job bringing guys in. I think you did a great job. You know, his first year being a head coach, and you know, the chemistry that we have right now is really good. And you know, I see a team here that can win a lot of close hockey games. And you want to go into battle with guys that you trust and
can take care of their own zone first. And you know what? I'm happy with it. I think the changes that have been made are good changes, and you know, like I said, I'm excited to see where it goes here.
Now, I know Jeff referred to Chris as a fan favorite. I don't know if you like that tag or not, but I'm sure some of you have questions for Chris, so feel free to just raise your hand and ask a question anytime, or also, Matt, you have a question back there? Oh, I thought you were about ready to put your hand up there.
No, I'll be kind.
What's that?
I'll be kind.
She knows
You'll be
everything.
kind.
She already knows everything.
She already knows everything. The fans here are, you know, a very dedicated group, and that's something that Tim Kerr has been amazed at. As much as we want to try to get the attendance up, and he's talked about it several times, he can't believe the dedication and the support of the hardcore fans here.
It's always been that way. The fans here, and I'm going to go back years back when I played here and in Jackson. The support here and the season ticket holders it's phenomenal. It really is. They're loyal. The home team for our players are great. For visiting teams, they just hate them. You know, and it's true. They're loyal to their team, and you don't see that too often in many places. That's for sure. And you couldn't find a better place to play. The support here, you know, obviously we want to have a sold-out building every night, and hopefully we'll get there again. But you know, the support we get is from the fans that we do have. It is phenomenal.
And that's been something that the team's working on building on. Jeff talks about going back to the days here. And a former coach here, Bruce Boudreau, longtime coach of the Capitals. Did you ever have a chance to meet him or anything? Well,
No, I never did have a chance to meet him, but I heard great things about him from when he was down here. So obviously he must have liked it here because he was here for a bit, from what I hear. You know, it's a great place to play.
yeah. We talk about the Washington Capitals. That's been a franchise that has been frustrated in the playoffs. They seem to have had the talent to really go far and deep, and you know, haven't even been able to make it to the finals except once in their history. Are you a frustrated Capitals fan?
Yes. Absolutely. I think they have all the tools every year, but you know, they folded in playoffs, and hopefully that changes soon with Dale Hunter.
I'm going to say, like, maybe change this year. Talking about changes in the NHL, there's talk right now, the general managers are meeting in the NHL, and they're considering a very significant change to one of the basic rules in hockey, the icing rule. And what they're talking about, and I know one of the junior leagues in the United States is using it this year, it's called hybrid icing. Whereas some leagues, as soon as the puck crosses the goal line, they call it icing, they call that no-touch icing. College hockey has that rule. Of course, the SPHL plays the same way that the NHL does, that the defending team has to touch the puck. If the attacking team touches it, it's no icing and play continues. What they're talking about doing in the National Hockey League, and the United States Hockey League is doing it this year, is what they call hybrid icing. The puck's across the line and there's a race for it. If the forechecker has the advantage, is ahead of the race at the time they hit the dots of the face-off circle, then there's no icing. If the defender is ahead there at the face-off dot, they blow the play dead there. So it's not necessarily an automatic no-touch icing, but there's not always going to be a race either. If the defender is ahead at the face-off dots, they blow the play dead there, and they call the icing. The thought being that will maybe eliminate some injuries. What do you think about a hybrid icing rule as opposed to no-touch icing?
I think they're trying to get rid of more injuries on icing, so that's probably why they're trying to bring it into the game. It doesn't really matter to me because my style of play is I just hit people. I'm sure Kinnunen would say the same thing. You know, he wants, fine, ice the puck and touch it up, we'll drill you. So that's fine with me, but if they want to change it, change it. I mean, I guess I support less injuries, you know, in the NHL, although I'm not very happy with the commissioner with all the rule changes that he's made, but he's got some time more.
I'm actually in favor for the hybrid. I broke my kneecap doing a situation like that, kind of from behind, right before I was going to the boards. So the injury's not good. It wasn't good. I'm still battling a little bit.
Where were you playing when that injury?
I did that when I was 16.
Oh.
And it's still bothering me to this day. So
would you think it'd be better to just do the straight no-touch icing, which the Central League has?
No, I think the hybrid's fine. If you're racing for it and you can beat them, you can, instead of just touching it and hoping you touch it so they don't call it, you can make a play almost. There's that, you're that much ahead of the defenseman. And keep the flow of the game going still.
Is there enough room from those face-off dots, which are roughly 30 feet from the ends of the boards, when they blow that whistle, you know, if they do blow it, are guys still going to be able to stop in time? I mean, because you're going at a pretty good clip. You know, I mean,
Well,
Will,
then it's played with that. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think any of us have ever played with that hybrid, so.
You've played no-touch icing and touch icing. You have a thought on it?
No, I really don't have a thought on it right now. Realistically, we gotta concentrate on what we're playing right now and let those little changes happen over the summer. Whatever they think is gonna improve the game, we'll follow that. Everybody, obviously right now, and I'm sure these guys will attest to it, is the big thing right now is concussions. And they wanna keep the flow of the game, but they wanna take the blindside hits away and the illegal hits to the head away. And you know, concussions is very prevalent in the news right now, and especially in hockey. Obviously, when one of the best players is down with a concussion symptoms over a year. So that's what they're looking into, and that's what they're trying to correct. Will it happen? I don't know. Every year about this time, you hear about 45 different changes in the rules. So they're also talking about putting the red line back into the game. You know, they've taken the red line out, and I don't know if you remember, when the red line was in the game, it'd be a two-line pass. If you pass from our zone, and the guy caught it on the other side of the red line, into the offensive zone. Well, they took that out where it's not a two-line pass now. So they're thinking of bringing that back. You know, but you know, it's all talk. They'll sort it all out throughout the summer, and you know, we'll go from there. We'll do whatever the NHL does, I guess, right?
And at some point, should they just say, you know what, hockey's a pretty darn good game. It's entertaining. These fans like, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why keep tinkering and messing with it? I mean,
the players are getting bigger and stronger. Look at these guys.
Yeah.
You know, they're big, strong guys that are skating faster than they did even 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You look at the game and the video of the game from 10 years ago and you go, oh my God, that's awful. You know, you look at it and the goalies' equipment and the goalies, they play a different style. The game has evolved. The players have gotten bigger and stronger and faster. You know, so they gotta figure out a way to keep the excitement, the hitting, and the fighting involved in the game, but also cut down on the injuries right now. And then that's where the line is. You know, and the person who comes up with that is going to make millions of dollars. So I'm hoping it's me. No, but that's realistically that is the truth. The person who comes up with the idea and that they go with, you know, it's going to be great for the game. It really is.
Jeff talks about the evolution of the game and watching tapes from the past, saying, oh my God, that's awful. You know, that's what my high school coach always used to say, watching tapes of me play. I thought it was about my play, not the style of game.
Well, Steve, I've never seen you skate, so I can't.
There you go. I set it up for you.
I can't comment, but I certainly would like you. I've given you the open invitation from the very first day of training camp that you can come out. You can come out on the ice and skate with the team. Maybe put the gear on and practice with the team if you want. I'm sure there'll be a few guys out there that would love to see that. Maybe let you have it. I'm not just saying.
You can't put a bounty on it, guys.
That is put no bounty on. No.
You know, Chris was talking about you know, the hobbies and everything, and the video games. You guys, movies? Do you watch hockey movies? Do you follow the history of the sport at all?
I watch it as much as I can. Being in the South, it's a little bit harder to watch it on TV. Basically, just look at the scores on the internet.
A big Flames fan, I would assume, right? Being from Calgary. Yeah.
Come on, I didn't boo your guys' team.
Oh, wow.
Testy.
Yeah. We got
I
Matt.
apologize. I don't want to say my team.
We got Matt a little bit worked up here and everything. But, you know, Calgary, obviously, you know, talk about what that's like being in an area where down here you've had a chance to kind of see the passion for college football and the SEC. I mean, is that how hockey is up there in Calgary and Edmonton? I know at one time that was as hot of a rivalry as any in sports.
Yeah, I think there's probably more diehard college football fans actual Flames fans. I think the Flames fans are, I guess, call it the same way. They're there to party, I think, a little bit more, especially when they're winning. But I think college is bigger. College football scene a little bit bigger, but it's pretty similar. It's not much really to say they're really alike.
I seem to remember reading that in 2004 when Calgary lost in the Stanley Cup Final to Tampa Bay. They had a celebration in Calgary to congratulate the Flames on a great season, and they actually had more people show up there than Tampa Bay, which had the Stanley Cup. There were more people at the parade in Calgary than at the Stanley Cup parade in Tampa.
Yeah, it was a pretty nuts atmosphere here in 04. It was crazy. I didn't get to see much of it because I was only 14, seeing the downtown and all that, but it was pretty cool from what I hear.
And I know they have an area, they refer to it as the Red Mile, I guess.
Yeah,
an area
17th Ave downtown.
So everything was all Calgary Flames gear and everything like that. What would it mean in D.C. if the Capitals were to win the Cup? It won't be like the Redskins winning the Super Bowl, but would it be bigger than in Tampa?
I think that there's a lot more Caps fans following now than they were when they went to the Stanley Cup. But yeah, it would mean a lot to the organization, and I don't know what teams have won it besides Tampa down in that southeastern conference, Carolina. But yeah, it would certainly be a big deal. It would be a very big deal, and they'd have a parade and everything, and I'd be right in front row.
Be like Ferris Bueller's Day Off or something like that. Chris Chambers' Day Off with the Stanley Cup and things like that. Do you see it happening in your lifetime? Are the Caps closer to winning the Cup now than they were maybe 2 or 3 years ago?
Absolutely. They got the franchise, Alexander Ovechkin.
We've got a no back here.
You know something to say about my team back there? Yeah, I do think it'll happen. When, I don't know, but hopefully in my lifetime.
Exactly. I think we can all, there's been a lot of hockey fans who have said that. But we'll get back to the Surge now and the final 5 games of the season, starting tomorrow with Augusta. It's a 3-game homestand for the Surge. Tomorrow night, Augusta. Friday night, Columbus. And then Saturday night, the Surge will be wearing St. Patrick's jerseys. You'll be able to bid on Matt Kinnunen's and Chris Chambers and the rest of the player jerseys on Saturday night after the game. And next weekend, it'll be a Thursday game at Huntsville, and then the season will wrap up a week from Saturday at home against Louisiana. Again, I know you don't like to look too far ahead, but 4 out of 5 games at home, that's a favorable part of the schedule down the stretch.
Yeah. It is. I have to think my thought there. It is. We do well on the road. We started the season off on the road, and we struggled just a little bit, but we've come around. We're a team that I think, when we're on the road, we're focused. We're together, and that's something that's come on, and I'm sure Matt will attest to this as well. That's come on, after January, and I think the big turning point for us was in Fayetteville. We kind of came together with the goaltender and the little dust-up that we had there. But that was something that really brought the team closer together. Do we like being on the road? Yes, but it's obviously home ice advantage, and playing at home is very important to us with the support that we do get, the confines of our arena, our own bed. Something as small as sleeping in your own bed, something, eating your meal at the same place that you always eat it at. It's that the comfortability of it all that makes you that much more prepared. And when it comes down to playoffs, it's all about preparation and what you do to get yourself prepared for that game. And it might be the way you drive to the arena, it might be what you eat. It's different for every guy. And when you're at home, you have that. And when you're on the road, it's a little bit different because some guys like to get to the arena, if it's a 7 o'clock game, they like to get there at 4 o'clock. Other guys like to get there at 4:45. And that's a big difference. Certainly playing at home, we want that. We want to get that for the playoffs. These next 4 out of 5 games is a good test for us. Against 2 very good teams. Well, I shouldn't say that, 4 very good teams. But the 2 top place teams right now. Columbus has something to play for. Augusta has something to play for. So we're going to need to be prepared and ready.
Matt, he talks about the comfortability of having the routine at home. Do you have a set game day routine?
Oh yeah, I eat the same thing every game day. I leave at
the same time, I shower at the same time. I think just having a routine keeps you mentally prepared to get to the rink and know what you got to do. And you're not always going to play your best game, but if you stick with it, it just keeps you stable.
A lot of guys do steak for game day. Some guys do pasta. What's your game?
Just chicken, basically. And then peanut butter and honey sandwich.
Peanut butter and honey sandwich. Chris, game day routine?
Practice in the morning, then I usually go over to get a meal at Mugshots, pasta, and then after that, take a little bit of a nap, wake up, put the music on real loud, and then get in the shower and sing.
No, I'm not. I don't think you're kidding.
And then I go to the rink and play hard.
Well, and I think everybody has seen that you do indeed play hard.
All you guys like that.
It's pretty simple. Go to the rink and play hard. That's true.
I was going to say, I mean, that's, if you had to describe a style of play, that's the most succinct way of doing it. Does this team have what it takes now, from what you've seen, to repeat?
Absolutely.
I know you hate that question, but it has to be asked.
Yeah,
I don't know if it has to be asked.
I think
I really don't know what it has to be, but
every team's different, and there's different pieces to every puzzle. And like I said earlier, the pieces to this puzzle, I think that we have. But we have to work hard and we have to get better every day. So, and we're going to keep working on that. We have the unity right now, I think, to do it. I think we put ourselves in a good position to win it, and we'll be fine.
Obviously, and you've got yourself, some of the other players that are back from last year's team that can, give some of that leadership. So I want to thank you for your time tonight. Matt, thanks a lot. Jeff, thank you. Folks, remember that 2 weeks from tonight, the Hockey Happy Hour will shift over to the St. Martin's Community Center. It'll be, put on by the Booster Club for their party. It is open to the public. I think, is it at 6 o'clock?
That's
It
what I'm
might be
asking.
7 o'clock. Well, we'll post that up on our Facebook pages, and stop by the Booster Club table at the games here this week, and they'll have the details and the information. But we won't be here at Bob's 2 weeks from now. But we thank you all for coming out tonight. And again, let's have a nice round of applause to thank Matt and Chris and Thanks for coming out to Bob's Burger Factory in the Surge Hockey Happy Hour.